According to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe.
Finally, I said to one of the Italians, I said, I've had it with this guy. I'm going to fuck this guy up. And he's like, no, don't do that. You're going to go to solitary. I said, no. I would never be so crude as to do it in public. I said, watch and learn. So, when you're being released from prison, they give you a paper called a merry-go-round. And all it is, it's a paper with your name and your prisoner ID number. And then it lists all the offices in the prison. And you have to go on your last day, you have to go and get a signature for each one. It's meaningless. It's just to keep you occupied that last day so you're not out there settling scores, right? So one of my cellmates was being released. And I said, Jose, I said, can I borrow your merry-go-round just for an hour? He's like, yeah. So he gives it to me. I go up to the library. I make a photocopy of it. I white out Jose's name and prisoner number. And then I type in the book, I call him Wallace. His name wasn't Wallace. I type in Wallace's name and ID number. And I asked one of the Italians to steal me a laundry bag, right? So I waited until 5 o'clock on Friday, and I put the merry-go-round and the laundry bag on Wallace's bed. So he's with one of the Gambinos that I used to hang out with. So we're in the room, and we're talking, and Wallace comes in, he goes, hey guys. We said, hey Wallace, how you doing? He walks over to his bed, and he goes, we go, what? He goes, I'm being released. I said, what? What do you mean? He goes, I'm being released. I must have won my appeal. I said, oh my God, man, nobody ever wins their appeals. He goes, I have to call my lawyer. He runs to the phone bank. Well, even fancy New York lawyers leave by 5 o'clock on a Friday, right? So there's no answer. He goes to the unit manager. That guy left at 2. Same with the counselor. Long gone. I said, Wallace, let us throw you a party, man. When are you going to be released? He said, Monday morning. I said, okay, we're gonna have a big party, big dinner, all the Italians. On Saturday, he gave away all his possessions. We had a blowout party for him on Sunday. And then on Monday morning, it was like a dozen of us. We walked him down to R&D, to receiving and discharge. Now, the rest of the story I got from the cop. Like, the only cop who was nice to me in receiving and discharge. Wallace goes in, hands him the merry-go-round, and the guy says, who the fuck are you? He goes, Wallace, what are you doing here? He says, I'm going home. The guy looks at the merry-go-round, he says, turn around, you're under arrest. For what? Attempted escape. We could hear him crying. They cuff him. They take him to solitary. He was in solitary about 6 weeks. And then they sent him to a prison in Youngstown, Ohio, where he served out the remainder of his sentence. So that night, the number 3 in the Bonanno family, he goes like this. Very creative. I said, I told you I was going to fuck that guy up. He wouldn't shut his mouth. All he had to do was shut his mouth and everything would have been okay. When I was stationed in Bahrain, I was the human rights officer. So I had to write the human rights report every year that we sent to Congress. Well, imagine if John goes in to see the Minister of Interior and I say, Your Highness, you cannot pick up a 15-year-old kid for marching in a peaceful pro-democracy demonstration and then murder him, beat him to death in the police station and call his parents to come and pick up the body. You can't do that. I have to report that to Congress and you're going to lose your rights to buy American military hardware. But then the CIA station chief goes in an hour later and says, don't pay any attention to the human rights guy. I'll give you $10 million. If you set up a secret prison here, we're going to send you some prisoners. You torture them, and then you give us a write-up of everything they say during torture. Who's he going to listen to? Is he going to listen to me?
Did that happen?
Yes. He's not going to listen to me. If all of a sudden torture is legal just because we say it is, and then Congress is like, oh, we don't know anything because it's a secret program, so we can't talk about it.
And it's funny because Wikipedia is run by the CIA and they can't even stop this article from happening.
Well, oftentimes the CIA gets outed when people look at the ISP information for the editors. It oftentimes goes back to Langley.
They're that dumb. Come on.
Yeah, they're that dumb. Really? Yeah. I remember in my own case, we asked for something in discovery. I don't remember what it was, and it was we were having a meeting. All the attorneys. I had 11 attorneys, and one of them said, "Hey, we should ask for X." And one of the other attorneys said, "Oh, come on, they're not that stupid." And he said, "No, actually, they are that stupid." And sure enough, they had fucked it up, and they ended up having to drop 3 charges.
Just because of that?
Huh? They're arrogant.
Yeah.
They think they're smarter than everybody else is, that they don't make mistakes, or even if they do make mistakes, you're not smart enough to figure out that they've made a mistake. And that's just simply not true.
But it's also like, John, they have a VC arm, as we've outlined
they
before.
do.
Everyone outlines
Yep.
it in QTEL.
Yes.
And they admit who they invest. Oh, yeah, with your money at Palantir. In
Sure.
03.
And now look at Palantir.
Why are you working with Russian state media?
Oh, because I've got 5 kids and nobody's beaten a path to my door to give me work. Again, my lawyer said, this isn't about John Kiriakou. This is bigger.
So for people who don't understand Andy's question, John has been hosting a radio show for a number of years for RT.
7 years now.
7
for
years.
Sputnik Radio.
Sputnik Radio.
Yeah. The government, I think, or the agency maybe, would have been perfectly happy if I starved to death from lack of work or ended up at McDonald's. And I worked hard to rebuild my life. The only people who offered me a job were the Russians. And when they first offered me this job, I turned it down. And I said, you know, the only way that I would do this is if I were free to say anything I wanted and to talk about any issue I wanted. And they said, done. And I said, yeah, but I would want to be able to criticize even Vladimir Putin. Done. And I said, would you put that in writing in the contract? And they said yes. And they did. On the day of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, I opened the show by saying that I unequivocally condemn the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and I call for Russian forces to depart Ukraine immediately. So they let me say anything I want. I've never, ever received any pushback. And I make a handsome living. Fuck the American government. What have they done for me? What have they done for my children?
Do you really
Besides violate my rights? I never met anybody at the CIA who was pro-Israel. Never.
Not one.
Not a single person. No, not a single person. And it's because they make it so hard to like them. You know, if we're supposed to be their best friends, we have this special relationship. Well, I'll tell you the same story I told Danny Jones. I worked with this guy for years, and he married a woman in the office. Really terrific people, both of them. Terrific people. And when I was going out to Bahrain on my rotation to the State Department, the wife was going out to Jerusalem because she got the same rotation to the State Department. So, because she had worked with the Israelis for many years, the station decided to declare the two of them to the Israelis. So they land and they go straight to Mossad, and the chief said, these are my officers. She's on rotation to the State Department, and he's just going to study Arabic at the University of Tel Aviv. Right? No harm. So they're there for a little while. They go to a party at the ambassador's residence, and they come home, and all of their living room furniture had been rearranged. And they're like, you know, not cool. But this is what the Israelis do. They break in the house, they rearrange all your furniture just to say, ha, fuck you, we can do anything we want. So they're there, working, months pass, they're having a good time. They go to the ambassador's Christmas party. Now, they're living in Jerusalem. The embassy at the time was in Tel Aviv. And so it's about a 30 or 40-minute drive to get from one city to the other. They come home at the end of the party, and people had taken shits in all of their toilets in their house. Every toilet had shit in it. You know, not cool. They're not doing anything. They're not working against the Israelis. They're just doing normal stuff. He's studying Arabic. She's just in the embassy's, economic section.
DARPA is something most Americans have never heard of. It's the biggest collection of geniuses anywhere in government. These are the guys that are creating not the next generation of technology, but 3 generations from now. If there are flying saucers and they're not little green men from outer space, DARPA made them. Seriously. This always struck me as very funny. DARPA's work is so classified that one DARPA scientist sitting next to another DARPA scientist has no idea what the other guy's working on. It's too highly classified. I mean, even at the CIA, we weren't cleared.
Not even at your position?
I had to get a Q clearance once because I had to go to the Department of Energy to talk about a nuclear issue. Nobody liked the fact that I had the clearance, and I ended up having the clearance just for one day, and then they revoked it. But that's how DARPA is too. This is another thing that always struck me as funny. There's a DARPA website, and they have pictures of scientists like, working together all in bliss. These are just generic pictures of random people you pull off the internet. These aren't DARPA people that are in the pictures. You can't show the DARPA people. They're too highly cleared.
To make that worse, Jordanian's a country that has no money. It's one of the largest recipients of U.S. aid, but people still live in poverty there for the most part. To heap on the problems that Jordan already has, where they've got Israel and the Palestinians on one border, they've got Iraq on another border, they have Syria on another border.